You might not be ready for this video because I'm not sure that I'm ready for it either, but I've been plant shopping. Come and join me while we have a look at some plants I bought today. So welcome back. This isn't the usual type of video, but if you like plants like me, then you're going to be quite excited at the array of plants that I've bought today. Some of them I'm not familiar with. They're plants that I've not seen before and I've not grown. I've done a little bit of very basic research just to talk you through the plants, but I'm thinking that some of them are plants that like more prairie conditions, more dry conditions, which really doesn't suit my garden. So I don't know quite where they're going to go, whether they're going to survive until next year, but I'm going to talk you through them. And if you're feeling excited and you want to go out and buy some plants, then I've got some inspiration for you. Now, these have all come from my local botanical gardens. Now, here in Swansea, we have lovely parks and gardens. They were at one point a really elite set of gardens, but they're not as maintained as they used to be, and they're not as prize winning as they used to be. But within the parks themselves, we have the botanical gardens, and they have a twice weekly plant sale, I believe. And believe it or not, this is the first time I've been able to get to the sale, which might be a good thing because I've bought 13 plants. Did I just say it? Yes, I did. I bought 13 plants. 13 plants. Anyway, let's have a look at what I've got. Now, the first one, those of you that are in tropical countries, well, not necessarily tropical, more Mediterranean countries, will definitely recognise the word hibiscus, but I've never seen one that has this amazing leaf. Isn't that just fantastic? I'm going to come back here so that the camera focuses a little better on it. Now, this is a hibiscus Mahogany Splendor, and you can see exactly why it's called Mahogany Splendor. The lady at the plant sale said I should protect it in the winter and then cut it down so that it bushes out. So I'm hoping I can manage that. I do have another hibiscus in the garden. It's not this amazing colour, and I seem to be attracted to these red burgundy leaves. So that is just gorgeous. Mahogany Splendor, and it's a hibiscus. So if you're in the Mediterranean, the hibiscus has that huge flower on it. This one might not even have any flowers on it at all. We'll have to look back at it next year and see if I've got it to survive in the garden. But I couldn't turn that away. Just amazing. It's actually quite tall. It's probably not far off 3 foot. But that's going to go somewhere in the garden. I'll probably keep it inside until after the winter. Our weather is very temperamental here in the UK, as you know. Right, so that's that one. I've just pulled the camera back slightly so that you can see me more clearly. But this one, my second plant, is an Iberis. And you can probably work out from that one, it's a trailing plant. Now, I have a bit of an unsightly wall in the garden, and that I'm hoping is going to really cascade down beautifully. What really made me laugh on this one is that on the back of the label, it says comes back every year. So for gardeners or flower arrangers or inexperienced gardeners, professional gardeners will probably already know that a plant that comes back every year is called a perennial, but they've made it easy for people by putting on the label, comes back every year. So I'm hoping I won't kill this one. This one has got a pink flower on it, and it's going to flower hopefully from April to late August. And it's very dry and it definitely needs repotting. I can feel by how compact those roots are in there that it really needs to have those roots teased apart and placed in a bigger pot. So a little job for me to do soon. So that one, let's put it on the floor and then I'll know which ones I've done. So that was an Iberis. Next one, now I'm not familiar with these, and there were 2 of them. This really pretty lilac shade, very much like a cornflower. So that was the one that caught my eye first of all. And I've met my friend, and not intentionally, my friend happened to be buying plants. So I said to her, well, can you get me some seeds off it and I'll try and grow it from a seed. And then I couldn't resist. I went back and picked it. So this one, now I think it's pronounced Catanache, but it could be Catanache, Catanache, and what I will do is I'll put all the names of the plants right at the very end. And not only did I buy one, but I bought two. One in this lovely blue and one in white. Now these are definitely prairie plants. You can quite often tell sometimes by the foliage in them. If it's a grey foliage, they like drought conditions, they like dry conditions. This one definitely needs a really good water. But these are Catanache, this one is Amor blue, and this one is Alba. Plants that have the name Alba are white, but can you imagine that just blowing back and forth in the wind in the summer? And I'll be able to cut that and use it in floristry work. So, two plants. Good. It was a good job that they had trolleys, because I filled the trolley. Then we have this one, which is an evening primrose. Now, I've only ever seen this in yellow, and I have a yellow one in the garden, and the yellow one grows wonderfully well in my garden. So I thought, well, we might as well have an orange one to match it. Now, the Latin name, I pronounce it as Ornithera, I think. Ornithera. But it's an evening primrose. And I've just got to find a spot for it now in the garden. Now, I've used the yellow one quite often on the YouTube channel, and if I can find the video where I've used it recently, I will link it here in the cards. And if you don't know what linking in the cards means, it means that if you click on this link that's showing in the corner here, then it'll take you to the video where I'm using this. Again, I think it's probably coming to the end of the season, but it's quite dry. Needs a little bit of TLC, and I'm surprised they're dry because it rains non-stop in Wales, so I'm not quite sure why they haven't been watered. But that's Ornithera or Ornithera. Somebody will correct me, I'm sure. And then this time of the year in my garden, during the autumn, I don't have an awful lot of plants that are flowering. So this is Gardia, and I've picked up two, but I don't know if they're the same variety. They might be exactly the same. But I picked up two of those, and what I did like about this one was you can see that there's lots of new growth here on the bottom. So when that's finished, cut it back. I would guess that they are herbaceous border plants, so they die back and then they come back. But I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on them all before I plant them. And I might hang on to them until the spring and plant them in the spring. But look, isn't that just fantastic? This one is not quite flowered. When it does flower, I'm going to know whether they're the same. But I'm thinking that the leaves are slightly different on them, so there's a chance it could be a different colour. And this one, again, you can see it's flagging a little bit. And normally with plants, they tell you when they want watering. This one is looking limp. It's a bit flaccid. It's saying, hey, Sharon, give me some water. So before I go home from work today, these will all get, look at that. Now, if that's not pot bound, I don't know what is. Swansea Council, get your act together. But that one needs to have its roots teased out. And if you look here, now the camera doesn't always focus when I come in close, but there is a little baby plant in there, and this one is a separate plant as well. So I'm going to be able to separate that off to get more than one plant out of there. And incidentally, all of these were £4, which has blown my budget for at least a month. I'm not allowed near a plant shop ever again. Now this one is Vinca. I would say this is Vinca minor, which is a small plant. It doesn't give the variety, but it was in the white section. So I'm hoping this is going to have a white flower on it, otherwise it's been put back in the wrong place. And this is a trailer, or it can be a creeper. But again, I bought this, so it's going to cover an unsightly wall and have a lovely white flower. Now I've already got one of these in blue, and it flowers nearly all year round. It's not particularly good for flower arranging, or I'm saying it's not particularly good. I've never actually used it. But look at those for trailing tendrils. Isn't that amazing? Might look like an ivy from far away, but that's a Vinca. And there are different varieties of Vincas. Now this one, I'm going to have to get my notes out for this one because I can't remember what this one is called. Or did I not find out what this one was called? I don't think I found out what this one was, but I'm going to have to look at my notes, so don't go far. Now I think it's a lichness, but I've not grown one or seen one before, so this will be an exciting challenge for me. It's got a salmony sort of colour flower. It's quite tall, although probably if it was trimmed back, it would bush out a little bit more. It did have a label on it, but no more. And just like a few of the other plants, it's got lots and lots of little shoots, quite healthy shoots at the bottom. And like all the other plants, this is totally and utterly pot bound. I should really have asked for a discount. I don't think the council would have been too impressed. Let's try and see. I'm going to have to really work at that to get it out of the pot. But I'll have to do my research because I don't know what type of conditions it grows in, where it's going to look best. If it's tall like this, it's obviously going to go at the back of the border. But very, very pretty. Look at that. So most of the videos I talk you, most of the foliage and flowers that I talk you through on YouTube are because I think they're good enough to grow in the garden for cut flowers. But I have no idea what these are going to do. But I love plants, and I got very excited and I couldn't turn them away. Now this one is ideal for growing in the garden, and sorry, it's good for growing in the garden. What I meant to say was this is ideal for cutting as a cut flower. And this one is an Eryngium, or the blue thistle. And I'm probably going to be able to split that into 2 or 3 different plants. Again, I'm not quite sure where in the garden it's going to go or whether I've got room in the garden, but I couldn't resist. I could have an obsession with handbags and shoes, but I don't. I have an obsession with plants. So we're on to, we've only got two left. This one, I think, another prairie plant. It's very long and spindly, and it's got a purpley colour flower on it. And it's probably still going to flower because these ones have got little buds on the top. And this one, I'm going to have to look at the label. This is a linum. Let's just turn that around so you can see. And another one that I think is going to be a prairie flower. So it's going to like dry conditions, like alpine conditions. Oh, I might be talking a load of rubbish. And if you grow these in the garden, then you can give me some hints and tips in the comment box. But at least this one has a label so I can research it and I can find out what it's going to do. But I thought this one, growing in the garden, could be cut and used for really floaty meadow type bouquets. Hopefully I haven't lost it by next year and it's still alive, and you might see it appearing in a tutorial next year. And I think, no, I was going to say I've left one in my van, but I am down to the final plant. And I've left the best till last. Because if you don't love this one, I don't want to be your friend anymore. This one, its common name is trailing snapdragon. And you can see why. Because it is exactly like a little snapdragon that's sort of going to come in and bite. Look at that. And now you can grow this as a trailer, or you can grow it up something. And I am slightly wishing that maybe I should have bought 2 of these and had one trailing and one growing. So you never know, I might be back on Saturday to pick up another one. Now this one, the label's not very clear, but it's Asarina, A-S-A-R-I-N-A, so Asarina, but you'll find it under trailing snapdragon, and I can't wait for that to flourish in the garden. I just need to do a bit of research on that one, and I'm not quite sure if I started with this one or whether I've forgotten it. But this is Lizzy Maia, and a few weeks ago, or in one of the tutorials where I talked you through cut flowers, I showed you a little white flower that looks like Veronica, and that is, what is it? I've forgotten what it's called. What did I just say that was called? My brain's gone blank. I know, Lizzy Maia. So this is Lizzy Maia, and this is the white variety. And This one probably could do with being divided. Like many of the other plants, that is absolutely solid. There are so many roots in there. I'm going to have a real problem getting that plastic pot off there. But we're going to have a go. We're going to give them all a really good watering, and hopefully it'll loosen up the pots a little bit, and then I'll decide where they're going to go and what I'm going to do with them. And hopefully we'll see them next year. If you're lucky enough to have a botanical gardens near you, there's a possibility that this time of the year they might be reducing off some plants. I didn't get any reduced bargains today, but it is the end of the growing season for plants in the UK. So keep a lookout now for bargains. You can always keep them in the house until the spring. When you get them home, you really want to see if they're pot bound. They might need splitting, and then you can either keep them until next year or you can plant them in the garden if you know they're hardy enough to come back. Remember, I'm not a gardener. I'm quite knowledgeable where plants are concerned, but I'm not particularly good at putting them in the right place in the garden because I'm too impatient and I like to get them in the garden as quickly as I can. So that one is a little treat for you. It's a different video to normal. Try and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button to be told every time I upload a new tutorial. And you never know, you might come across a video that you weren't expecting where I talk you through some gorgeous plants. So we'll see you as normal for a Tuesday video where it's a back to beginners or a flower chat like this. The normal Sunday video is the full tutorial, and Friday is your opportunity to send in a picture of one of your designs so that I can give you some constructive feedback. Lots of the photos that I've been sent are absolutely amazing, and they really don't need a lot of constructive advice because they've been made so well. But feel free to send in your videos. They've got to go to the email address below, and you need to put your arrangement, my feedback in the subject box. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.